Okay, guys, welcome back to the countdown, and now we are at number 5. Yes, that's right, we're at the top 5 of my top 10 favorite Marvel superheroes. And keep in mind, as always, guys, this is just my list. This is just how, these are just my personal favorites and how I rank them. And if you think a character should be higher or lower on this list or not at all, that's totally fine. This is just my list, and I'm always excited to see where these characters rank in terms of, favorites in your ideal or your opinion. Sorry. Anyway, so yes, at number 5 we have my 5th favorite superhero, of course, and my number 1 X-Man, Cyclops. Now, a lot of you guys who are probably wondering, who have been here a while, are like, wait, I thought Beast was your favorite X-Man, and admittedly he is one of my favorites. He's now at number 2, but Scott has jumped recently over the years to my number 1 in terms of favorite X-Man. Reason being is and you're probably wondering, well, why don't I see more mutants on this list, Zilla? Well, if I was to put more X-Men characters on here, then the list would have been just overfilled with X-Men. So I tend to do the X-Men as its own list if I was to do it again. But I did want to mention my number 1 in this list and where it ranks in terms of the echelon of these characters. And that, of course, is Cyclops. So Cyclops, like I said, is my favorite X-Man for a few reasons. Probably because I've gone back and read a lot of post House of M stuff that was done with Cyclops and how he grew as a character throughout that whole time. Because you gotta remember, Cyclops for the longest time wasn't just the leader of the X-Men. He became the leader of an entire species. After House of M, the mutant population was down to a little over 200. So yeah, a little over 200 mutants left in the world, and they needed a leader, and Xavier wasn't exactly around, so Scott had to take that upon himself. So, yeah, that was kind of the big thing, was that Scott, took upon this leadership role to not only become the leader of a team, but also the leader of an entire people. That is, if that's not a way of stepping up, I don't know what is. If that's not, the perfect way of showing how a character steps up to the plate, I really don't know what is then. Because this dude had dealt with a lot. I mean, obviously, the death of his first love, then, finding someone else, marrying her, having a kid with said person, and then turning out that person was your girlfriend, it was your lover, cloned by a guy who's naturally obsessed with your DNA, in more ways than one. And then, leaving said wife who turned out to be that lover's clone for the original lover, yeah, it wasn't exactly... And I will admit that, yeah, Scott, I'm not going to defend Scott and some of his decisions of being like, hey, I just ditched my girlfriend, who I will later discover... my wife and my son to go back with my girlfriend who died and then miraculously came back. So yeah, but yeah, I will say this is that at least Scott owns up to the fact that he's done shitty things in terms of his love life in the past. I'm glad that he at least acknowledges and accepts that. Yeah, I really messed that up. And hey, I've known people in my life who have cheated or cheated on their respective husbands or wives or boyfriends and girlfriends and play the victim the whole time, even though that was totally on them. So good on you, Scott, for at least accepting that what you did was not good. And I'll give you that, because I've known people in real life who are like, no, totally, I was totally justified in having an affair with the man or woman I love because it was my choice, and you should feel bad for me, even though I totally was in the wrong. Before I go any further into that whole rabbit hole, let's get back to the task at hand. Anyway, so, as I was saying, Scott had to deal with so much, and honestly, the dude was never once wrong. In the Matthew Rosenberg run, it pissed me off that, Cyclops says, oh, I was totally wrong in how I handled the mutant situation. I was like, no, you weren't, Scott. You were never once wrong in terms of how you handled everything from AVX onward, because you were totally right every goddamn time. And when they said, oh, he was acting like the Scott's become Magneto. No. A, he was under the influence of the Phoenix during AVX, and no one seems to give him a pass on that, even though they totally gave a pass to everyone else who was under the influence of a Phoenix, but for some reason Scott got the shit end of that stick. And yeah, he was under the influence of when he killed Xavier. Plus, the dude also was like right, because when have the Avengers ever given a single fuck until now about given a single flying fuck about anything X-Men related up until now? Oh, because Nova showed up on their door and told them, hey, the Phoenix is coming. That was literally it. That was the only reason they decided to step in and all that. And Scott justifiably was like, where were you? Where were the Avengers when Sentinels were slaughtering X-Men? Or, hey, only Thor showed up when the Marauders came down into the sewers and slaughtered a bunch of the Morlocks, you know? But, yeah, thanks, Cap, for never being there. And I'm not trying to discredit Cap, I'm just saying that, yeah, Scott was totally justified. You want to know where else he was justified in, but died before it was seen fruition? Inhumans versus X-Men, where again, the X-Men were villainized even though they were completely in the right, because yeah, giant death cloud killing mutants, new mutants left and right, mind you. Plus, they were also, let's also not forget that they were also the Terrigen Mist was forcibly changing people who most people didn't want to be Inhumans. So, yeah, he was kind of in the right, but oh no, just because Scott destroyed a Terrigen Mist cloud, he's public enemy number one, even though he never took anyone's life who, like an innocent person's life, but we all have to compare him to Magneto for some goddamn reason. Even though, yeah, he's working with Magneto, but yeah, he was never like Magneto. The only time he ever was Magneto-ish was when he was dealing with people who, for a lack of better word, if they weren't killing mutants, I'm pretty sure the Trasks and everyone else behind the Sentinel programs would be killing someone else of a lesser race who they deem, hey, if you're not white, you know, my Sentinels are going to come after you. But hey, mutants are there, so I'm going to focus on that. No, that's exactly how the Trasks are. Hell, in one comic, one of the members of the Trask family traveled back in time and built a Sentinel for the Nazis to use for their discretion. Let me say that again. They built a Sentinel for the Nazis. If that's not a red flag of the Trask family and everyone else who built the Sentinel program, and also other people, yeah, just yeah, I don't know what to do. If you don't think that's a red flag, I don't know what to say. But yeah, and that was the thing, is that no matter what, if I was a mutant, and I had this fear that I wouldn't have any rights because of how I was born, and have this constant fear of being dragged out of my house by my own government, and have a bullet put in my head and put in a mass in some mass grave, or experimented on, you know, like something that happened in Germany for a good amount of time, and during this event called World War II. Pretty sure you guys know your history. I would probably join up with the guy with the laser beams coming out of his eyes, and also has a plan of how to save an entire species. So, yeah, here you go. So there you go, guys. That's kind of a few of the reasons of why I love Scott Summers as a character. The dude put so much on his shoulders, and usually came out on top. Even when he had to look like the villain, even when he had to look like the villain, he was still like, yeah, I'll take this burden on my own, but I did it for all the right reasons. I'm gonna look bad, but it's gonna be on me and nobody else. So that was the big thing, that's the big thing with Scott, is that the dude literally had to, fight through, his own image to do like that, and that's what true leaders do. Again, I'm not trying to discredit Cap or anything. I'm just saying that the dude had a lot on his shoulders, and I mean Scott had a ton, and I mean a ton of stuff on his shoulders, so there you go. But anyway, guys, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of Cyclops as a character? Like him, hate him, comment below, let me know, and once again, if you think a character should be higher or lower on the list, that's totally fine, no ill will against you. This is just my personal list, and this is where I rank the characters. So, yeah, I hope you're all enjoying this list. We are coming to the end of the top 10, so stay tuned for the next ones. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.